Emily Bronte. Emily Bronte spent most of her life in a stone parsonage in the small village of Haworth on the wild and bleak Yorkshire moors. She was the fifth of Patrick and Maria Bronte's 6 children. Her father was a clergyman. Her mother died when she was 2. At the age of 6, she was sent away to a school for the daughters of poor clergy, with her 3 elder sisters. Within a year, the 2 oldest girls had died, in part the result of the school's harsh and unhealthy conditions, which Charlotte Bronte was later to portray in Jane Eyre, 1847. Mr. Bronte brought his 2 remaining daughters home, where, together with their brother and younger sister, he educated them himself. Emily was the most reclusive and private of the children. She shunned the company of those outside her family, and suffered acutely from homesickness in her few short stays away from the parsonage. Despite the isolation of Haworth, the Bronte family shared a rich literary life. Mr. Bronte discussed poetry, history, and politics with his children, and the children themselves created an extraordinary fantasy world together. When Mr. Bronte gave his son a box of wooden soldiers, each child excitedly seized one and named it. The soldiers became for them the centers of an increasingly elaborate set of stories that they first acted out in plays and later recorded in a series of book-length manuscripts, composed for the most part by Charlotte and her brother Branwell. The 2 younger children, Emily and Anne, later started a separate series, a chronicle about an imaginary island called Gondal. In 1850, Charlotte Bronte told the story of how she and her sisters came to write for publication. One day when she accidentally came upon a manuscript volume of verse in Emily's handwriting, she was struck by the conviction that these were not common effusions, nor at all like the poetry women generally write. With some difficulty, Charlotte persuaded her intensely private sister to publish some of her poems in a selection of poetry by all 3 Bronte sisters. Averse to personal publicity and afraid that authoresses are liable to be looked on with prejudice, Charlotte, Emily, and Anne adopted the pseudonyms of Currier, Ellis, and Acton Bell. Although the 1846 book sold only 2 copies, its publication inspired each of the Bronte sisters to begin work on a novel. Emily's was Wuthering Heights, 1847. She began work on a second novel, but a year after the publication of Wuthering Heights, she died of tuberculosis. Many of Emily's poems, Remembrance and The Prisoner, for example, were written for the Gondal saga and express its preoccupation with political intrigue, passionate love, rebellion, war, imprisonment, and exile. Bronte also wrote personal lyrics unconnected with the Gondal stories, but both groups of poems share a drive to break through the constrictions of ordinary life, whether by the transfigurative power of the imagination, by union with another, or by death itself. Like Catherine and Heathcliff in Wuthering Heights, the speakers of Bronte's poems yearn for a fuller, freer world of spirit, transcending the forms and limits of mortal life. Her concern with a visionary world links her to the Romantic poets, particularly to Byron and Percy Bysshe Shelley, but her hymn-like stanzas have a haunting quality that distinguishes her individual voice.